Hi everyone, my name is Melanie, and in August 2021, I went on a 6-week long Interrail trip across Europe. And in this third video, I'm going to show you my trip to Lucerne. I was particularly excited to visit this city because one of my friends lives there and he kindly offered to host me in his house, which was really nice because it allowed me to catch up with him, and at the same time, since he was born and grew up in Lucerne, he toured me around and gave me many historical and cultural anecdotes about Lucerne and Switzerland in general. The city of Lucerne finds itself in the German-speaking part of Switzerland, and it is located between Bern and Zurich. The city was built next to the lake Vierwaldstätter See, but the English people decided that that name was too complicated, so they decided to call it simply Lake Lucerne. Many famous people have come here to enjoy the beautiful views over the lake and the mountains, such as Wagner, Queen Victoria, or Goethe. There is a river that crosses Lucerne and ends in the lake, which is called River Reuss. The city is just super cute and clean, which is basically the case of every single city in Switzerland, which made me say to my friend,
Honestly, if I continue and stay that long in Switzerland, I'm gonna move in here, you know?
this is a very famous bridge called Kapellbrücke, which means Chapel Bridge, and it was built in the 14th century. We walked over the bridge and we saw the octagonal water tower, and under the roof of the bridge there were panels which showed important events of the Swiss history and mythology. Then we walked in the very beautiful medieval old town, which was full of old colorful houses, and several of them had beautiful drawings on their walls, such as this one with the babies, or this one which I think represented hell, the purgatory, and heaven, or again this one. There were also many fountains, trees, flowers, and parks. Then we drove to his house, we had dinner, and then it was time to walk his super cute little dog, Linda. Right next to his house was a forest with a river and several waterfalls.
Wow, it's so. Hello.
Everything was so beautiful and calm, and I really felt like I was walking inside of the woods of a fairy tale. The next morning, we went on a boat tour for the entire day on the lake. We bought our lunch and some snacks at a supermarket in the morning, and we of course brought Linda with us to help us navigate. It was really fun. The weather was really good since the sun was shining. It was warm, and for the first time since I started my trip, it was not raining, so I was very happy. Here's a Swiss flag in the middle of the mountain. This boat tour was very interesting because Lake Lucerne is really big and it has several sort of branches, which means that it is impossible to see all sides of the lake without a boat. The lake started to form 12,000 years ago. It is 114 square kilometers. It is 434 meters above sea level and is 214 meters deep. It was very interesting to see that on some parts of the lake there were small hills, and then on the other parts there were really high mountains with snow at their top. I also learned that it is on the banks of this lake that the famous legend of William Tell took place. For those of you who don't know the story, in the 14th century, Switzerland was part of the Habsburg Empire, and William Tell defied the authority of the Austrians. As a punishment for this, he was forced to shoot an apple that was put on top of his son's head, which he succeeded, and then he killed the Austrian governor of his region, which led to a big rebellion of the Swiss against the Habsburg Empire. They took their independence and they created the Swiss Confederacy. The next day, my friend drove me to the train station. We said goodbye, and I also said goodbye to Switzerland because I took the train to go to my next destination, the city of Venice in Italy. I have to say that I absolutely loved my stay in Switzerland. The landscapes were breathtaking, the cities were so charming, the people were really nice, and I learned so much about the history and the culture of the country. So I promised myself to come back here as soon as I could.